Hey guys, it's the Brickstar here, back for another video. And today, I'm going to be talking about the Buildable Chopper. So, this set released in May of 2025 for a retail price of $100. And this has set number 75416, 1,039 pieces, 1 minifigure, and an age rating of 10 plus. The one minifigure included in the set is of course the war criminal himself, Chopper. And luckily, I think this is a pretty good figure. On the front of his body, he has very detailed printing, which looks very nice. And even a back print, which is great because it seemed that LEGO was only giving back prints to R2-D2. However, this figure does not use the standard astromech droid body. Of course, the figure also has the stubby astromech droid legs, which look pretty good. However, this leg should have been in white instead of gray. The printing on the front of his head is also pretty good, with the 3 little eye sensors, and a little bit of printing on the back of his head. However, the figure has this round tile on the top of his head to try to replicate the radar dish. However, I just don't think it looks that good. But luckily, if you don't like it, it is a very easy modification. You just take it off. Before I talk about the main build, included in the set is a little display plaque. And luckily, in these types of sets, the display plaques are usually pretty good. Of course, there is a front card with some nice information on the character, and it is attached with those hinge pieces, so you could adjust it a little bit, but I like to have it at a slight angle. And on the left, there is a little spot to put the figure. And there really isn't too much going on in the back. However, you might have noticed those 2 orange pieces, and those do actually serve a purpose later on. Now, on to the main build. And luckily, I feel like Chopper himself looks pretty good. There is quite a bit of detail going on his chest, but sadly there are a lot of stickers. At the top, there are those 2 orange stickers, which is supposed to represent the orange line going across, so I would recommend for you to place those stickers as close to the edge as possible so there isn't too much of a gap. Underneath it, there is his little arm, which you can simply move out and pose a little bit. There are some more stickers, some tan and sand blue, that piece, and also some black wires using hot dogs. His legs also look pretty good. This one, as you can see, is more white and has a little tube. And yeah, the legs look pretty good. The shaping on the bottom I feel like was very well done. Ignore that some of the stickers aren't exactly put on the best. My younger brother built the set. And there are 2 more smaller wires going at the back, using whip pieces. His other leg is essentially the exact same, just with a slight difference in the stickers, and of course, this part is white. There's also, of course, his pretty iconic front wheel, which also looks pretty good. And if you want, you could take it off, however, I'm not sure why you would want to do that. And something pretty interesting with his legs is that you can't really move them back or forth too much. That is really it. However, you could try to push it a little more, but then it just springs back into place. It doesn't fall, it springs back, which is interesting. The head looks pretty good. Of course, with the yellow stripe going across and another yellow stripe right there. And also his 3 eyes or sensors. I'm not really sure what they are. At the top, there is a little dish piece, which you can move around a little bit. And also his iconic arms, which have a lot of posability. And this is actually where those orange pieces from earlier come into play. Because if you don't want the arms, you just take them out and put the orange pieces right there. Like that. Which is definitely a nice option. However, I will say, taking those orange pieces out is not fun. Because there isn't really enough room to fit your fingers in there and grab it. So what I find easiest is you just grab a brick separator and pop it out. There really isn't too much detail in the back. However, there is that little lever. And it allows you to jiggle Chopper's head around when he's talking. You just grab it and move it around. Down is that way, up is the other way. Here's what it looks like from the front. And that is essentially it. But would I recommend that you get this set? Honestly, I don't know. Because while the build is great, the price is not. This thing is $100, when in reality, it should 100% be like 70 bucks. Because here's the chopper compared to the R2-D2 from just last year. And as you can see, there is a pretty clear size difference. And while these two do have pretty similar part counts, this one has a lot more smaller pieces. Plus, there is of course the factor of the size. So this thing 100% should have been, like I said, 70 bucks. So I would mainly recommend that you get the set if you can find it on sale. And I think I would give the set about a 7 out of 10. It's almost an 8, however that price really jogs it down.